Are you tired of feeling stuck in a cycle of procrastination and laziness? What if you could break free from the things that hold you back and start making progress toward a life that truly matters? The truth is, the clock is ticking, and the time we waste today could be the time we wish we had back tomorrow. In this video, we're diving deep into 7 actionable steps that can help you defeat laziness, reclaim your time, and live with purpose. Let's make today the first step toward a better, more fulfilling life. Laziness. It's something that all of us have faced at one point or another. But have you ever stopped to think about the real cost of wasting time? Many of us get caught up in distractions like social media, video games, or just zoning out. But when you look back on your life, will you feel proud of all the hours spent on your phone? Or will you wish you'd spent more time with family pursuing goals or doing things that matter? In today's world, time seems to slip through our fingers like sand, and we often don't realize it until it's too late. Imagine being on your deathbed. What regrets would you have? Would you wish for more hours of scrolling or binge watching? Or would you wish you had used your time to travel, create memories with loved ones, or accomplish more with your life? It's a tough question to ask, but it's one that can shift the way we think about the time we have now. The truth is, laziness is the silent killer of time, our most precious commodity. It steals away moments that could have been spent living a life of purpose, pursuing meaningful relationships, and chasing after dreams. So if you're tired of wasting your time of letting laziness control your life, then stick around. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 steps to stop laziness and start living a more intentional, fulfilling life. These steps aren't just about getting more done, they're about making sure that the time you have left counts. Step 1. Find the root of your laziness. If we want to conquer laziness, we have to start by understanding it. Think of laziness like the fruit on a tree. The fruit is easy to see, but what's important is the root. Where is this laziness coming from? If we want to tackle it, we need to dig deeper and figure out what's driving us to waste time. In the Bible, there's a passage in Luke chapter 6, verses 43 to 45, where Jesus uses a tree analogy. He says that a good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit. The fruit in this case is laziness, but what's the root? Sometimes the laziness we experience is rooted in exhaustion. I know from personal experience when I'm working hard, whether in meetings, writing, or running around, my body gets drained, and all I want to do is escape into a video game or mindlessly scroll through my phone. If I'm being honest, there have been days when I've spent the entire day binging shows or playing games just to avoid the exhaustion or the work ahead. But for others, the root of laziness could be something different. Maybe you're avoiding a difficult task. Maybe you feel overwhelmed or unmotivated. Or maybe, like many of us, your relationship with your phone or the internet is unhealthy. It's easy to fall into the trap of mindless scrolling when we're feeling low or trying to escape. The important thing is to identify why you're wasting your time. Is it because you're tired? Is it because the work ahead feels too daunting? Or is it something deeper, like a lack of motivation or depression? Once you understand the root cause, you can start to deal with it head on. Without knowing where the laziness comes from, it's impossible to tackle it effectively. So take a moment to reflect. What's driving your procrastination? What is it that you're avoiding, and why? It's not an easy question, but understanding the source of your laziness is the first step in overcoming it. Step 2. Tear down the altars in your life. Once you've found the root of your laziness, the next step is to deal with the things that feed it. In 2 Chronicles chapter 14, verses 2 to 5, we see King Asa doing what was right in God's eyes. He went through the kingdom tearing down altars to false gods and idols. Why? Because these altars were distractions pulling people away from what really mattered. In today's world, our altars aren't made of stone or wood. Instead, they take the form of our phones, social media, video games, or other distractions that steal our attention and time. Think about it. How much time do you spend scrolling through your phone, checking notifications, or binging the latest series? For many of us, these digital distractions have become the altars we worship at, often without realizing it. Let's be real for a moment. How many hours a day do you give to your phone? Maybe you spend over 4 hours a day mindlessly scrolling through Instagram or watching YouTube videos. And don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my phone. But we have to ask ourselves, what's the cost? Are we willing to let this altar steal our time, or do we need to set boundaries? One helpful step I've taken is setting time limits on my apps. and giving my passcode to a trusted friend. That way, I'm accountable to someone else when I feel like falling into a screen time trap. It's the same with video games. I love playing games, and they're a great way to connect with friends. But when I catch myself spending hours neglecting my responsibilities, I remind myself that life is much more important than a game. To break free from these altars, we need to be intentional about setting limits. Life is better than a video game, and when you treat it like one by leveling up your skills, setting goals and making progress, you'll find a sense of purpose that gaming can't offer. So what are the altars in your life? What distractions are keeping you from living with intention? Maybe it's time to tear down those altars, set limits, and reclaim the time that's rightfully yours. Step 3. Surround yourself with good company. The people you surround yourself with have a massive impact on your life, especially when it comes to motivation and productivity. In Joshua chapter 2, verse 24, we see the people of Israel getting ready to conquer the Promised Land. Before they went to battle, their leader Joshua sent 2 spies to gather information. When they returned, they reported that the inhabitants of the land were fearful of them because they knew God was on Israel's side. Joshua had surrounded himself with strong, capable individuals, and together they were a team of winners. Similarly, the people around you influence your habits and your mindset. If you want to stop being lazy, one of the best things you can do is make sure you're spending time with people who are disciplined, motivated, and productive. I know this from personal experience. When I was in college, I was surrounded by a group of friends who loved God and were passionate about serving others. We encouraged each other, and our collective drive pushed us to do more, whether it was studying, working, or volunteering. We helped each other stay accountable and inspired. Think about your own circle. Are the people around you pushing you to be better? Or are they encouraging habits that feed into laziness? It's tempting to spend time with people who are also lazy because it feels comfortable. But if you want to grow, if you want to break free from the cycle of procrastination, you need to be intentional about who you spend your time with. I remember there were days when I felt completely unmotivated. My mind felt foggy, and I just didn't want to do anything. But by hanging out with a friend, someone who had a different energy and drive, I'd find myself feeling encouraged. Even just talking about my goals or hearing about their day helped me refocus and get back on track. If you find that you're constantly feeling lazy or stuck, it might be time to examine the company you keep. Spend more time with people who challenge you, people who are productive and disciplined. Their habits will rub off on you and you'll find yourself naturally becoming more motivated. Step 4. Expose and confront the sin of laziness. It might sound a bit intense, but one of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with laziness is to confront it head on. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11, Paul urges Christians to have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. When it comes to laziness, we can think of it as an unfruitful work of darkness in our lives. Left unchecked, it can grow and consume us. The truth is, laziness can be a form of sin. It holds us back from fulfilling the potential that God has given us, and it's something we need to take seriously. If you've been procrastinating or wasting hours scrolling on your phone, you have to call it out. Don't coddle it or make excuses. As difficult as it may be, you need to take responsibility for it and ask yourself, why am I allowing this to take control of my life? For me, one of the key moments of breakthrough came when I stopped hiding from my laziness. I stopped ignoring it and made the decision to expose it. Sometimes it's as simple as confessing it to a friend or writing down my struggles. And I'll tell you this, bringing it to light makes a world of difference. When you call it out, you give yourself the chance to heal and move forward. But let's be honest, calling out laziness is not always easy. It requires humility, vulnerability, and the willingness to change. I've had to look at myself and ask, why am I wasting my time? And what can I do about it? The answer is to be intentional. Jesus said that if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Of course, this is a metaphor for being serious about removing the things in your life that are holding you back. If laziness is your struggle, take action and get rid of the habits that feed it. One practical step I've taken is to send a quick text to a friend when I'm struggling. I might say, hey, I'm really struggling with staying focused today. Would you want to read or talk with me for a bit? Sometimes just having someone check in with you can make a huge difference. It's a way to expose the darkness and take control of your time. Step 5. Make God the center of your life. If you're serious about overcoming laziness, then step 5 is essential. Make God your God. In Mark chapter 12, verse 30, Jesus gives the greatest commandment. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This isn't just a suggestion, it's the foundation for living a purposeful life. When laziness tries to take hold of your life, it's often because something else has taken the place of God in your heart. For many of us, our idols might not be physical statues or altars like in the Old Testament, but they can be just as powerful. We might idolize comfort, self-indulgence, or entertainment. When we prioritize these things over our relationship with God, we find ourselves slipping into laziness. I'll be honest, there have been times in my life when I've fallen into the trap of prioritizing my own comfort over my spiritual growth. Whether it's spending too much time on my phone playing games or just zoning out, I've had to remind myself that my life is meant for more than mindless scrolling. The call to follow God requires us to put Him first in everything: our time, our energy, and our goals. When you make God the center of your life, you'll find that your priorities start to shift. Instead of letting laziness take over, you'll be motivated to serve God and others. When I find myself feeling lazy or distracted, I take a moment to pray and realign my thoughts. I remind myself that my purpose is greater than just my own comfort, and that I've been called to make an impact in this world. Step 6, start small. When it comes to overcoming laziness, sometimes the hardest part is simply starting. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work we think we need to do. The temptation is to wait for the perfect moment, or to think that we need to tackle everything at once. But if you want to make lasting change, you need to learn how to take small steps one at a time. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 16, Paul writes, I say, then walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Notice the word walk here. Walking is slow and steady. It's not a sprint. It's not about rushing. It's about taking consistent, manageable steps toward progress. The same principle applies to breaking the habit of laziness. You don't have to conquer it in one day. You can make small, intentional choices every day that add up over time. For me, one of the best ways I've found to start small is by setting simple, achievable goals for myself. For example, if I know I need to read or pray, I don't pressure myself to read an entire chapter or spend hours in prayer. Instead, I'll say, today, I'm going to read 10 verses and I'll pray for 5 minutes. By starting with small, bite-sized tasks, I eliminate the feeling of being overwhelmed, and I make the process more enjoyable. Over time, as I make these small habits a part of my daily routine, they become second nature and laziness loses its grip. This approach can be applied to any area of your life, not just your spiritual journey. If you're working on a project or a goal that seems too big to tackle, break it down. Start with one step at a time, and soon you'll find that progress becomes much easier. The key here is consistency, not perfection. Step 7. Find your calling. Now the final step in overcoming laziness is finding your calling. In Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, Paul writes, For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. This is one of my favorite passages because it reminds us that we are not just here by accident. We have a purpose, a mission, something meaningful to accomplish with our lives. When you find your calling, it becomes much easier to overcome laziness. If you don't have a clear sense of purpose, it's easy to fall into the trap of procrastination because you don't feel connected to a bigger mission. But when you know that what you're doing matters, when you understand that your work, no matter how small, is part of a greater plan, it becomes easier to stay motivated. For me, I've found my calling in ministry, especially through this online platform, where I get to share messages that help others. Knowing that the work I do can make a difference gives me the drive to get up every day and give my best. I'm not just working for myself, I'm working to impact lives and to build something that will last. If you're not sure what your calling is, that's okay. Take time to explore your passions and gifts. What excites you? What do you feel passionate about? God has uniquely gifted you for a specific purpose, and discovering that purpose will give you the clarity you need to break free from laziness. When you wake up every day with a sense of purpose, laziness no longer has the same power over you. You'll find that you're willing to work hard and make sacrifices because the work you're doing is part of something bigger than yourself. A final word: overcoming laziness is a journey. Let's face it, overcoming laziness is not a quick fix. It's not something that will be solved overnight. It's a journey, and like all journeys, It will have its ups and downs. But if you commit to the process, if you take small steps, and surround yourself with the right people, you will start to see change. It all starts with understanding the root of your laziness, tearing down the altars that feed it, and then building a solid foundation of discipline, accountability, and purpose. And when you put God at the center of it all, you'll find that your strength and motivation come from a deeper place. You won't be relying on your own strength, but on the strength that comes from God. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's not about never being lazy again. It's about learning to recognize when laziness is creeping in and taking intentional steps to push back against it. As you take these 7 steps, finding the root of your laziness, tearing down altars, making good friends, exposing the sin of laziness, putting God first, starting small, and finding your calling, you'll begin to reclaim your time and live a life full of purpose. So if you've been stuck in a cycle of procrastination and laziness, take heart. You can break free. The journey will take time, but each step you take will lead you closer to the life you've always wanted to live. Closing thoughts, keep moving forward. I know overcoming laziness isn't easy, and it's a struggle we all face from time to time. But remember, progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens step by step. By focusing on these 7 steps, you'll be better equipped to face the challenges that come your way and to build the life God has called you to live. And if you ever feel like you're slipping back into laziness, don't be too hard on yourself. It happens to all of us. What matters is that you keep moving forward, taking one step at a time, and always striving to live a life that truly matters. Embracing the struggle, why persistence matters. We've talked a lot about the steps you can take to overcome laziness, but one thing that we cannot overlook is the role of persistence in this process. Overcoming laziness is not a one-time fix, and there will be times when you'll slip back into old habits. It's important to realize that the struggle itself isn't something to be afraid of. It's a part of the journey. I think back to times when I've faced a lack of motivation. I've struggled with feeling like I wasn't accomplishing enough, and at times I've allowed myself to fall into a cycle of laziness. But each time I found myself slipping, I came back to the core truth. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting up each time I fall and moving forward with even more determination. Think of it this way. Life is full of highs and lows. There will be seasons when you feel incredibly productive, and then there will be seasons where it seems like you're stuck in quicksand. The key is to embrace those low points and use them as learning experiences. When you hit a setback, it's an opportunity to grow stronger, to reevaluate your goals, and to get back on track. One practical tip that's really helped me is setting smaller goals within the bigger goal. When I'm feeling unmotivated or lazy, I focus on what I can do right now. Whether it's sending one email, reading one chapter, or taking a short walk, I set myself up for a win, even if it's small. These small victories help me build momentum and prove to myself that I can keep moving forward no matter how difficult the path may seem. Accountability, a lifeline in the battle against laziness. Another key element in overcoming laziness is accountability. I can't stress this enough. If you want to succeed, you need someone who's got your back. I've personally experienced the difference it makes when I share my struggles with someone else. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a mentor, having someone to check in with keeps me on track. Accountability is a powerful motivator because it keeps you committed to your goals. When I know I have to report back to someone, I'm less likely to give in to distractions. It's like having a built-in system to keep you focused, and it's a great way to ensure you're consistently taking the necessary steps toward progress. And here's the best part: accountability works both ways. Just as you'll benefit from someone else keeping you accountable, you can do the same for others. It's a partnership, lifting each other up, pushing each other forward, and celebrating the wins together. If you're in a group of people who are working towards similar goals, the collective energy can be incredibly motivating. Overcoming negative thought patterns. Now let's talk about something that can often keep us stuck in laziness. Negative thought patterns. Our minds are powerful, and when we allow negative thoughts to control us, they can have a devastating effect on our productivity and mindset. Thoughts like, "I'm not good enough, I'll never be able to do this," or "it's too late for me," can paralyze us and make us feel like we'll never break free from the cycle of laziness. But here's the truth. Those thoughts are not facts. They are lies that we've been conditioned to believe over time. If you want to break free from laziness, you need to start renewing your mind. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, Paul encourages us not to be conformed to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. This means changing the way we think about ourselves and our abilities. For me, a big part of this transformation has come through positive affirmations and mindfulness. Instead of focusing on what I can't do, I remind myself of what I've already accomplished and the progress I've made. I celebrate small wins and acknowledge that every step forward is a step toward my goal. This shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight, but it's a powerful tool in the fight against laziness. Finding joy in the process. One of the most overlooked aspects of overcoming laziness is learning to find joy in the process. It's easy to focus on the end goal, the dream job, the finished project, the completed task. But if you only focus on the destination, you'll miss out on the rewards that come from the journey itself. When I started seeing each task as an opportunity to grow rather than a chore, everything changed. I began to enjoy the process of learning, improving, and creating. Whether it's writing, working out, or any other endeavor, I found that when I shifted my focus to the present moment and found joy in the work itself, laziness became less of a temptation. This doesn't mean that every task will be fun or easy, but it does mean that we have the power to choose how we approach it. When we stop viewing work as something we have to do and start viewing it as something we get to do, we begin to see it through a different lens. The power of prayer and reflection. As you work through the steps to overcome laziness, never underestimate the power of prayer and reflection. For me, one of the most transformative things has been taking time each day to pause, reflect, and pray. It's in these quiet moments that I get clarity and strength to keep going. God doesn't want us to live life in our own strength. He wants to be our guide, our source of energy, and our encouragement. Through prayer, I've been able to ask God for help in overcoming laziness and to give me the wisdom and discipline to stay on course. And when I feel discouraged, I remind myself that He is with me every step of the way. A final thought: keep moving forward. Laziness will always be a challenge, but it doesn't have to control your life. By applying the steps we've discussed, finding the root of your laziness, tearing down distractions, surrounding yourself with good company, confronting negative thoughts, and finding joy in the process, you can start living with purpose and intention. Remember, this is a journey. Some days will be harder than others, but each step forward is a victory. So no matter how many times you fall, don't give up. Keep moving forward. You have the power to overcome laziness and live the life you were meant to live. Reflecting on your journey. As we come to the final part of this journey, it's important to take a step back and reflect. Overcoming laziness isn't about just checking off tasks or meeting deadlines. It's about transforming your mindset and adopting a lifestyle of intentionality. When you look at the progress you've made, no matter how small it may seem, know that you're on the right path. Every step forward is progress, and every effort counts. I've been through the struggle of feeling lazy, of letting distractions take over, and of wishing I had used my time better. But over time, I've learned that the key to overcoming laziness lies in understanding that it's not a quick fix. It's a process of growth, reflection, and continuous improvement. And that's exactly what makes it so rewarding. When I look at where I am now compared to where I was, I realize just how much progress I've made. There was a time when I couldn't even fathom making it through a day without feeling mentally exhausted or getting lost in distractions. But now, by embracing these 7 steps, finding the root of my laziness, tearing down distractions, surrounding myself with good company, and making God the center of my life, I've found a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. But it's not just about looking back, it's about looking forward. The battle against laziness isn't one you fight once and win for good. It's a daily commitment to living with intention and purpose. There will be days when you feel overwhelmed or distracted. There will be moments when laziness seems like the easier option. But when you keep your eyes on the goal, on the bigger picture, you'll find the strength to keep pushing forward. The role of discipline and self-control. One of the most vital elements in this journey is discipline. The Bible speaks about the importance of self-control, especially in the face of temptation. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28 tells us, "Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls." Laziness is a form of giving in to the desires of the flesh. It's choosing comfort and idleness over hard work and discipline. But discipline is the wall that protects you from the chaos of laziness. When we are disciplined, we take control of our actions, thoughts, and time. We decide what matters and align our choices with our values. This doesn't mean being perfect or rigid in every area of life, but it does mean being intentional about what we give our time and energy to. For example, when I feel the pull of laziness, I ask myself, what is the purpose of this moment? Am I spending time on something that will help me grow, or am I just filling time to avoid discomfort? By questioning my choices and focusing on what's truly important, I'm able to stay disciplined and resist the urge to waste time. Self-control also means saying no to distractions and yes to actions that bring me closer to my goals. Whether it's limiting my screen time, saying no to unnecessary commitments, or choosing to prioritize work over instant gratification, discipline is what helps me stay on track. Celebrating small wins and progress. As you continue on your path to overcoming laziness, don't forget to celebrate your small wins. Too often we get caught up in the pursuit of the big goals that we overlook the little steps we've taken to get there. But these small victories are the building blocks of lasting change. I remember when I first started applying these steps in my life. At first it felt slow. I wasn't seeing drastic changes right away, and it was easy to get discouraged. But as time went on, I began to notice how much more I was accomplishing, even in small ways. I'd finish tasks I'd been putting off, I'd read a chapter of a book, or I'd complete a work project I'd been avoiding. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. The same applies to you. Celebrate those small moments, finishing a task, getting out of bed earlier, or choosing to read instead of scrolling on your phone. These victories are proof that you're making progress, and they deserve to be acknowledged. Every small win is a step closer to overcoming laziness and living a purposeful life. So take a moment each day to reflect on what you've accomplished, no matter how small it seems. And then keep going, turning your focus to service. Ultimately, overcoming laziness isn't just about personal growth. It's about serving others and using your time to make an impact. When we focus on ourselves too much, we fall into the trap of laziness. But when we shift our focus to others, when we use our time and energy to serve others and make a difference in the world, we find purpose and motivation that go beyond our own desires. In Mark chapter 10, verse 45, Jesus tells us, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve." Jesus, who had the power to do anything, chose to serve others. He lived a life of purpose, constantly focused on loving and helping those around him. And that's the kind of life we are called to live. When you begin to see your time as a gift to serve others, laziness becomes less appealing. The distractions of social media, gaming, or mindless entertainment lose their grip on you when you realize that there is more to life than just filling time. You're here for a reason, and that reason is to serve others, to grow, and to make an impact in the world around you. Living with intentionality. So as you finish this video and go about your day, remember that overcoming laziness is not a destination, it's a way of life. It's a commitment to living with intentionality, to taking small steps each day, and to building habits that lead to a fulfilling and purpose-driven life. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. When you slip, get back up. When you struggle, keep going. The key is to keep moving forward no matter how small the steps may seem. And when you face those moments of temptation, remember that you have the power to make a different choice. By finding the root of your laziness, tearing down distractions, surrounding yourself with good company, confronting negative thoughts, and focusing on service, you will start to break free from the chains of procrastination and live the life you were always meant to live. You were created with purpose, and it's time to step into that purpose. Keep moving forward one step at a time, and let your life be a reflection of God's love and grace. Final encouragement: stay committed. Remember that the journey isn't always easy, but with each step you take, you're growing stronger. Don't let laziness steal your time and your potential. Instead, use every moment wisely and let your life be a testimony of what it means to live with purpose, intentionality, and joy. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope these steps inspire you to take action and live the life you were meant to live. Keep pushing forward and know that you are capable of great things. I hope this video has inspired you to take charge of your time and overcome the laziness that holds you back from living your best life. Remember, it's about taking small steps every day, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and finding a deeper purpose in everything you do. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. We're all in this journey together, so let's keep moving forward with purpose and passion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.